done.
Hello everyone, this is the 52nd Whaleshares Curation show. If you're new, welcome. If you're old, welcome back. 52 makes a year, so I'm quite excited. I had hoped to get music working for this week. I got a program downloaded, but for an audio noob like me, it was actually a lot harder when I started. So I know I keep delaying it. I will get it done 1 week, so we will have music and sound effects soon. Thank you very much for the happy anniversary compliments and things and the wishes. We've got Acrid in the audience, who was the man who started it all, who gave me this position. So it's lovely to see him here. I asked Cubby if she would come along, who was a curator for quite a long time. Other than that, I think who are the longest running? It's got to be, I think Linda and Cott joined at the same time. Is that right?
I think I was there in the end. I mean, I can't really say that, but I think it was the end of November or beginning of December when I was a guest.
Yes, yeah, because we had guest curators and we had permanent curators, and then it became tricky to get guest curators because people wanted to or didn't want to. And I remember there was a week where I was asking some questions about Russian stuff, and both you and Cotrin were able to help me. And I think that was the week you both joined. Did you join properly then? I don't know. Anyway, sorry, this is maybe boring if you've only joined Whaleshares fairly recently, but this has been going on for a year, since before we even knew that Whaleshares would have its own chain. So you're part of something quite big. And speaking of quite big things, at the halfway point of the show, we will talk about what I think is my amazing plan to make Whaleshares mainstream. I honestly think this is the best way to do it. We're also going to talk to Callum, who's got something to do with dominoes. It's another. I'm trying to think. Well, we will ask Callum about it. It's a platform stroke endeavor stroke curation, but it was quite complicated. So he's going to explain all of that to us later. Anyway, back to the point of the show. It's 4 of us each curating posts. We do 2 each. We stop at the halfway point and talk about something else normally. And if you stay to the end, you get free crazy coins from Krista. But perhaps we should start off with our first curation, which is almost always Linda, isn't it?
Almost always still here. I'm gonna stay here. You can't kick me out. Anyway, I had to choose this post. I just had to, because I really love the style when somebody draws with pen and just does lines. I can't wrap my mind around it, how you just do lines and then something comes out of it. You know, it's not just lines anymore, it's a whole portrait. And I've seen this photo before and I love that photo, and that drawing just adds even more ancient feeling to it. And I've seen this person online already. He's quite involved in community. He's presenting on Bugs and Snecky's show often, and he has properly signed his work, so you know he did it. And I really love that he also shows step-by-step drawings on there, and I don't know, I really like this. Like this portrait could be in one of my stories, you know, and I'm very particular about things that go with my stories. So yeah, it's quite pretty and nice and very, very amazingly made, and I have huge respect for anybody who can do something like that.
For sure.
Sorry, go on.
No, Nick, I think you started first. You go on.
Okay, I was first. I was just going to say, you sound a tiniest bit sleepy.
I'm not. I mean, I'm a little tired, but I'm not.
You've been playing too many computer games, haven't you?
No, I've been a good girl.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a very interesting looking post. It's amazing when people do this like high level of skill with something as throwaway as just a ballpoint pen. It's like almost an irony to it, but it makes it quite special.
I'd love to frame this and put it on my wall. So, Kot, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna compliment his work because this is a pretty accurate portrait for something to be drawn with like a gel pen, you know. I feel like pencils and pens are the hardest ones to do like a realist painting kind of or drawing. I mean, and I think this is like pretty impressive because this photograph and this drawing they look almost identical. Like you would know, you would recognize the person if you knew them looking at the drawing. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, and plus pen, you can't really, if you make a mistake, the line stays there, so you have to work around it. So that's also something like,
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of it. That is a good point. Yeah, once you're working with the pen, there's no way to detect.
I think when you think about art, you always think like long flowing lines, blending everything. So taking something as simple as straight lines and just merging them to create a piece of art that's got the exact same effect and impact on the viewer is absolutely brilliant. And it is a wonderful post. I'm really glad you picked up on this one. Hoping that it gets a lot of love.
yeah, and this guy he has much more, and all of his drawings are amazing looking, and you just go to his blog and you pick on any post, and I think it's hard to find something that's not good. Where this pen, like, this is something to the next level. I think that's my favorite of what I've seen from him yet.
Are we going to see some pen and ink drawings on your stories in inspiration from this?
I don't think I'm even close to that level. I could draw a butt of an elephant. That's the best I.
All you do if you can't draw is scribble a lot and call it modern art, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can draw a butt of an elephant, but can you do it with a ballpoint pen? That's the real question.
Can I what with a ballpoint pen?
You said you can draw the butt of an elephant. I was just wondering if you can do that with a ballpoint pen.
Why not?
It's just me being curious and silly.
What I'm curious about is the what kind of saint that is because it says like somebody sent this person a picture of an Indian saint and it doesn't like really say anything else about it. Like what exactly is an Indian saint?
Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe you should ask Kotrin.
Yeah, I should. Good
You
idea.
should. Engagement, building engagement with the community.
I think we get a lot more people on this show if some of you guys flattered a bit more with the people we select.
Well,
No answer was the stern response to that suggestion. Okay.
just tell
Anyway.
everybody I'm naked. That usually works. That's not true anymore, but
I gave up doing that because it was just getting boring week in, week out. But anyway, yes, nice post, Linda. Well selected. Hopefully, if you like that, you'll give it some votes. So we go to Cotrin now. Just 1 second, Cotrin. Are you sat down at the moment?
No, I'm standing up just like you requested.
Okay, yes. Cotrin has to stand up for her creations this week as a punishment. Okay, off you go.
Okay, this is my second pick, and this is a post by Indigo Ocean. She joined Whaleshares, and she's actually here in the audience today. She just joined Whaleshares a couple months ago, and she's been consistently producing a lot of good content, a lot of inspirational and educational posts. I follow her, and I always enjoy just like uh, looking around like what she got every day to post and stuff like that. And this is one of the posts that she made the other day, and she's talking about rewarding and how often people say like, "Oh, like this post is bad," but what they say is the reason behind it is just like it doesn't have a lot of words or symbols, you know, like they didn't tag a lot. And I think it's like a wrong approach because what is good content, you know? Like we people, we consume content and we define what is good and what is bad. And like for me, like good content would not be like a novel because I'm probably not gonna go to Whaleshares to look up a novel to read, you know. So I think it's been discussed so many times, like what is quality content, and it's like a really big up topic. But I think we just need to kick back, sort of relax, and just not be so hard about people who just share photography or art because not everybody's gonna write a whole bunch, you know.
Well, I've got an issue with the word content. Not that you used it wrong or anything, just that it's such an ugly, plain management speak word. And I realized this when I was talking to the poet. I'm trying to get to judge this award, and I kept having to say content. And when you're talking to like a proper writer, it made me aware of, you know, they think in terms of beauty and aesthetics and his poems and stuff. And I kept having to say content. And I thought, I wish we had a better word or different words for different things. I almost wish we could say posts instead of content, because it makes it sound so bland to me.
Yeah, I guess you could say that the content is just like blunt because it doesn't really specify what exactly it is. And well, if a writer joins the platform and they write, well, they are a recognized author and they write like really good stories or whatever, you know, and they don't get the recognition they deserve. Of course, it's sad. It's sad, but I think when you join something and you see what people are into, you cannot just like bring your novels somewhere where people discuss, I don't know, like how to build a computer, for instance.
Yes, yeah, I suppose so. I mean, a thing that Fuzzy talked about in the past was making the communities more self-contained on Whaleshares. So it's not just one big glut. People would be in their own little areas. They could coalesce in a glut if they wanted, but they could have their little sections. Maybe once we did that, we wouldn't be stuck with this one use for everything word. And if there was like a writing area, we would say poems, short fiction, flashes. If there was a photography area, they would talk about portraiture or nature photography posts or something, and they wouldn't just say content, something like that. So things could change in the future.
Yeah, actually, I think communities was like uh, something that people were requesting from Steam and before. I don't know how that is going to be implemented on Whaleshares if there isn't like anything in the works or a plan for it. But you know how it is on Reddit, like you sort of like join like a group of interest and you kind of hang out there. So like in reward content, up content in that area so that you don't go around and just like look at what other people were making, just like, this is just like, you know, a meme and it made more money than my novel or whatever.
You know,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I'm right now on one of my older posts. I'm in a 30 comments deep into conversation with somebody, and it's really hard to scroll through all the comments there. So maybe we should work on that as well. Just a thought. You know, when you click on show more, you know, when you talk with somebody, you have that button where you have to click to see more comments, and it only filters some comments, so you have to click again and again and again. So maybe you could click once and they would open all the comments. That was just a random brain fart, by the way.
I see that Chinguria was talking about somebody who doesn't reply in contests, or I mean comments. I saw something similar on a different platform, and like they were saying, they were complaining about people who post their YouTube videos and never respond on Steam, but they only respond on YouTube. I personally haven't encountered anybody on Whaleshares who didn't respond to my comments. Usually, I try to respond to every comment I receive, and pretty much anybody, everyone who I posted a comment to, they responded to me. So, like, perhaps there are people who don't do that, but I personally didn't meet anybody who just like ignored the comment. Well, unless it was just like something stupid that I just didn't didn't know what to say, and I said one word, and I didn't really expect him to reply to that.
Well, I was just looking through this post now of hers, and the first thing that I noticed is in her own comment section, it seems that her inspiration was drawn from a Tuesday night hangout. I'm not sure in which server, but it just goes to show how privileged we are to have the interconnection, of the luxury of having Discord. I've used this as an example before, but when Steam had just started, there was no open communication channels. You couldn't get input, you couldn't get insight unless you actually posted about it and got a reply via that. So I think, first of all, it opens up the realization of how blessed we are with having a server where we can have open communication chats. And then secondly, regarding the content of her post, for me, it's not about the length of the post or the structure of the post as much as what is really being said. I mean, if you can say just as well in 50 words what you're gonna say in 200 words, I'm not gonna judge you for the length. I'm not a word counter, you can have a good short post, but you can also have a very bad long post. And I think that's a matter of personal appreciation for what is put out there. So different people do like different things, and that's the two basic things that came to mind, but really a great post.
Okay, so I think we all approve of that one. There's Indigo Ocean in the audience. Well done. We approve of your sentiment. Should we move on to Breeze? Oh, I've just been chatting to Cubby, so I'm hoping she will come in and talk to us. That would be nice, wouldn't it? She was here from the start. Anyway, okay, let's go to, Breeze, your first post.
Right. So this week I decided to focus a little bit more on nature and farming, which brought me to this lovely little vegan post. And any of you that knows me I'm a farmer and I'm a meat eater. So I'm not going to classify as a vegan. However, I'm not opposed to it. But for me, this is a very controversial topic, and one that I support in my own way. I think, like, living on a farm, you become very aware and very respectful of what you do eat. But at the same time, there's a lot of gray areas when it comes to veganism from a farmer's perspective, for example. Once you need to secure a land to grow the vegetables, the amount of animals and insects and living beings that needs to be killed constantly in order to make that happen is almost just as bad as having cows graze in a natural pasture for the purpose of being killed. So that sounds very harsh, but it is a very cold reality of looking at both sides of the field. But other than my personal opinions, I came across this post. It was valued at 0 Whaleshares at the point, and it has been a few days. Let me just quickly see. I don't think this one was a few days old. This one is just a few hours old. Sorry, it's the other one that I'm thinking about. But still, a very well compiled post going through the process that this person endured in order to reach the point of veganism. He's also now heading the vegan community Curation project. I think he just started that up, and he's only been on the platform for about a month. So I thought it's worthwhile supporting. And although I don't completely agree with all the views, I don't disagree with them either. Again, each one to his own, I suppose. I wish that I could stay away from meat, but I just don't see that happening.
I think vegans need to come up with a term for meat eaters who are on a perpetual mission to minimize how much meat they eat. So who see a virtue in going a day without meat. And that would be something that would bring more people into veganism, rather than, because at the moment they're a bit cordoned off, this like super elite of people with this amazing willpower. If there was a term where we could be like we're pointing towards veganism as an ideal that we admire, but we're not that good at it. Something like that.
No, there's a lot of movements that's starting up. You've got your meat-free Mondays, which has been a thing, I think, I've known about it for the past 5 years. There's a lot more awareness about the excessive consumption of it. South Africa, I think, is a very meat-heavy country in general. But internationally, it has come to a point where people are more aware that something has to die in order for them to eat it. At the same time, as a farmer, either or, you're going to kill animals, whether you want to or not. And that's also a sad reality. And one of the things that he mentioned in here was he was doing some studies on animals, animal behavior, animal thinking. And it led him down a path of how pigs think, for example. And that's something that I really struggle with. And since then, I haven't... No, I'm lying. I have killed a pig. But, if you look at the animal itself, just because it's not a pet doesn't mean that it doesn't have feelings, emotion, and conscious awareness. So pigs dream just like humans do. They actually snuggle with their noses together. They have a dialect of over 300 different tones when they grunt, signifying different meanings to what they're communicating in between each other. And at the same time, it's damn good meat, a lot of people oppose, for example, eating certain animals, but they would be happy to eat a cow or a pig. It doesn't make the cow or the pig less intellectual. It doesn't make it less personal. It's just that you don't have a personal connection with that animal as a rule. I mean, you can't keep a cow as a pet in town, but therefore it becomes socially acceptable to eat them. And that's also not the right way of thinking about it. So, like I said, it's a very gray area for me, but a great post and that I feel certainly does need a lot more rewarding than what it's currently getting. Also, a new user on Whaleshares, and one that's proving to be a formidable community member that I would really like to give some support to.
Hi.
Yeah, for sure. Linda, go on.
Are you sure?
Yeah, positive.
Okay, sorry. I really like the post, how it's formatted. For me, also, I'm a meat eater, but for me, it's a thing that I think we treat our animals really wrong, just like Bree said. Like we're very, I think it's because a lot of kids these days, they don't see how those animals are, what's happening with them in reality. You don't grow up looking at pigs being in small enclosures and chickens being in small enclosures. I grew up on a farm where all the animals were treated well, and we didn't eat them much. We ate the eggs that the chickens did, and we ate the chicken on Christmas or on like special holiday. For me, it's more of the fact that we treat animals inhumanely, and that's, I think, the biggest issue than not eating them, because animals eat animals, and people, well, we eat meat. So yeah, I just think we're eating way too much. Way too much is produced and wasted, and I think we are treating our animals horribly, and you are what you eat. So all that horror that they go through in their lives, that's my problem with it.
Yeah, but at the same time, classify what is a happy life for an animal that's being raised for such a selfish purpose as becoming food. Not at the end of his lifetime, not when he's ready to let go, but by the time that you feel your needs overwhelming your emotions at that point. So that's why I said it's a very gray area. But at the same time, I feel that vegans don't realize the ecological impact that catering for their needs actually brings to light at the same time. Unless you're a little homesteader, you're growing your own food. If you're buying vegetables or vegetable products, what do you call those fake meat thingies from a shop, there's a whole process that has a very big environmental impact on all animals, including wildlife and cultivated animals. So there's no, it's difficult to define what is right and what is wrong. Like I said, if you breed a cattle, you breed that cattle for slaughter. If you planting a field of vegetables, you have to constantly kill out indigenous animals all the time, and very beneficial insects as well. So there's I don't know, it's just a very gray line, but it is a post that I'm willing to support, and I don't know, I'll still ponder this, I think, for the rest of my life.
Yeah, this is a good post and a good choice, Bruce, that you picked it up for discussion today, because I'm not a vegan. Well, sometimes I do eat more vegetables, uh, not like vegetables, like being more vegetarian and just like avoiding meat sometimes, but I don't exclude it from my diet completely. And I feel bad for animals, and but I cannot stop eating them either. But I think what's really needed to be done is I already talked about it before. You know, like when you come to the store, you have meat packaged already, and it's called, like, for instance, New York strip, and it's like the name of this piece of meat is like disconnects you from the animal. But I would prefer to go to the store and like have other names than just something that doesn't put me in the mindset of this piece of meat being like being an animal previously. Just like I wish they would still have. I know it sounds maybe stupid, but if they had like animal parts like in their butcher shop, like pig head or whatever, just something that reminds you that what you're gonna have for dinner tonight used to be a living being, and just so maybe people don't just gobble all of that meat all the time, all day long, every day.
So the modern industry takes away the immediacy. You're eating something, and you'd be pushed into a more difficult choice if you were more aware that you were buying, cooking, and eating flesh.
Well, the best way to do it is just give somebody a live chicken and tell them to eat it, kill it.
Yeah, or maybe just raise the prices a little bit, because it costs more money to buy veggies and like other kind of produce, but meat costs less money, and you would think like, it costs more, so it's cheaper to feed the animal and provide some shelter for it, and then kill it and process it and put it on the shelves. But it costs more money to grow an apple. Why do apples cost more than just like a steak at the store, not at a restaurant?
Well, okay, from a farmer's point of view, the reason why it costs more is because the shelf life is shorter. That's the main reason. You need to ship it, you need to cart it, you need to pack it, repack it, and repack it again before it reaches the home table, and therefore the cost becomes more. Whereas meat is pretty much, frozen and delivered. So you can't freeze fresh produce. You can freeze meat before you repackage it for retail. And the point that I was trying to make is whether you eat meat or whether you eat vegetables, you are equally responsible for the same amount of things to die in order for you to have that food on your plate. And the nicest conclusion that I can come to in my head is just to be respectful of what you eat in general, whether it is vegetables or whether it is meat, because at the end of the day, I think humanity has reached a point where we take a lot more than what we actually need, and that does have an impact. And you can say, well, I'm a vegetarian because I feel sorry for the animals, but you don't think of all the deer and wild pigs, wild boars, everything that gets shot out on a daily basis, literally, in order to make that happen on a larger scale, so that you can buy your produce on a larger scale. And that's why I said, unless you're a small scale homesteader that grows your own stuff, you're equally as responsible for the same amount of deaths in animals as you would be as a person eating cow every single day, which is sad. But I think the general thing is just being more aware of what you put into your body, and doing that in moderation, to the sense of not over consuming, not taking more than you need from nature, so that there's a balance retained.
Yeah, for sure. You put it really well, and I think I can even pick something up to tell to my vegan friends about it, and they are so defensive of animals, dependent of animals, and they say that being vegan is better for the planet.
Okay, talk about killing shit. Wait, hold on. Okay, I think it's dead.
Was it a snake or crocodile or something?
No, it was a huge ass fucking centipede. Sorry for my French. Those things creep me out.
Can be forgiven for that, maybe, if it was crawling on you. Okay, great post, and it gave us some interesting chat. I always think veganism chat kicks off into interesting areas. Well chosen, Breeze, as always. Now I think it's time for my post. Hold on a second. So this was a really nicely done, quite short little anecdote from someone's life. Nicely written. I've been doing, if you're not aware, I've been running a flash blast this week, part of this laureate project that I'm running, which I will tell you more about in a bit. So it's got my mind very focused on short bits of writing. But this man just told a story about how he had to change his radio because he found the news was full of propaganda. He knew it. Like sometimes when you listen to the news, you know they're lying to you or twisting facts. But the fact that it had been, the radio had been tuned to a particular station for 33 years gave it some resonance for me. It gave me a little bit of like a feel, because years ago you could sort of rely on news generally to tell you the truth. But anyway, he's felt he's had to change, and now after 33 years of classical music, he's got country and western. But yeah, it was nicely written, nice picture. It just had a nice sort of soft, how can I say, like a soft American feel to it, the post as well. It had an American flavor to me, which I liked, because a lot of stuff feels a bit international now, in terms of posts. But yeah, have a look.
More of that brainwashing, huh? Go, Breeze.
No, I was saying I'm looking at it, but I'm looking at the centipede with the other in the corner of my eye, and it's still just kind of curling up there, doing funny stuff. So I'm trying to focus, Nick. I'll be with you now.
I should be more precise with what I mean by American feel. What I mean is like an old-fashioned, like the America of the 50s feel, if that makes sense.
I think I understand what you're saying.
When America had a gentleness to it still, and had echoes of the old world that it had come from, but it was its new sort of self as well. And it was, like a bit more sort of family values. Life was a bit slower, a little bit of a conservative mindset to people. It reminded me of that, and I thought it was just quite nicely and gently done.
It's very you, Nikki. I just finished it. It's very you.
Poor old guy was happy with his radio station. 33 years, he woke up listening to his nice classical music, and suddenly he thought, F this, they're bloody lying to me, and I can tell. And he couldn't bear it any longer, and so he's forced to switch over, and I felt quite sorry for him.
I think especially amongst the older generation, I mean, humans are creatures of nature. We can all attest to that. But especially amongst the older generation, it has to take something drastic in order for them to to change the way they're doing something or change a routine so it must have been quite an eye-opener for this guy to change it after so many years. And I know that I'm not old American, but it does have a nostalgic feel. It feels like an old farm kitchen that you walk into, and gentle subtlety, and you kind of expect there's going to be rusks and coffee on the table waiting for you when you turn around. So that's the nostalgic feel that I got from it. But I think a lot of times in life we do reach a point in every aspect of our lives where we need to change and move along from what we've known and seek something better for ourselves. And if changing the radio station floated his boat, then I'm really happy for him.
Good. Any more thoughts?
I really like the line that he says, "I did not suddenly get stupid." There's a nice little bit of writing there that just changed just set the dial.
Yes, yeah, I should have mentioned that. Yeah, no, it shows the sort of, how can I say, almost like a crotchety but justified older person's indignation.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, all right, we'll move on for that one because you three don't seem that verbose on it, but it doesn't matter.
Hey, Nick, you know what? I looked at this person's profile and I forget, it was you or Brice who said that the post gave them the feel as if they walked into a farmhouse kitchen. This person does live in the middle of the woods by himself, I suppose, because he just lives in the country in the woods. That's what he says in his intro post. So whoever said that was very right.
Yeah, all of his posts, I scanned through them, have a sort of nice old-fashioned feel to them as well. But anyway, okay, we're at the middle of the show now. In a second, I'm going to get Callum on to tell you about his domino project. But first of all, I promised to tell you how we're going to take Whaleshares mainstream. It's very simple. I'm going to show you a post I've done. No need to upvote it because I would feel guilty, but I would like you to be aware of what's going on because I think it's great. So, as you know, probably, or most of you know if you listen, I've got a series of awards being set up. I've got one in place already, which will be hopefully launching in the new year. Another one, I've almost got the judge in place, a poet. So we've got a short story writer and a poet who are successful in the real world. We're giving good value cash prizes, and I thought, why not aim for the stars? Let's write to famous people, because of what we are and how innovative we are in Whaleshares, and because we've got an ethos which is generally against censorship. A lot of people love that kind of stuff, and we're glad to be involved and would be flattered to be asked. And my idea is to aim for increasingly famous people, and nothing to stop me sending out all sorts of spam letters. And obviously, I only wrote this a couple of days ago. He hasn't written back yet, but if he doesn't, I'll try someone else. There's hundreds and hundreds of famous sci-fi or fantasy writers, and I'm sure we can get one. Now, that's part of it. So we've got competitions then. But even if you get someone who's like semi-famous, their own Wikipedia page, which is to me the bare minimum that the judges are going to have, that level of fame, I think. The next thing is to use that to hop and skip another step. So what I've done is made contact with a couple of people, one in America, one in the UK, who are going to help me with creative writing courses across the countries. So what you do is you speak to someone who, I don't know, who like the head secretary of the creative writing course in a university or a college. And if you think that all over the Anglosphere, there must be thousands of these. Every university department, every college, every school has got something like this. You speak to that person, you send them a PDF with the entry details for the competition on, and you say, could you please put that up? It's a great new platform. You can shield the platform a little bit, like all of your writing students can earn money doing this. It'll get them doing more work. And in addition, this is a prize that anyone can enter for free. So all over the Anglosphere, you're going to have these things up on notice boards. And bear in mind, this isn't just for short stories and poetry. We're planning one for photography, one for art. I've been talking to DJ Lethal Skills about one for electronic music. Ideally 12 would be good in a sort of rolling pattern. But yeah, if we do it right, and if we get enough people involved, and if we've got from our side, so we've got teams of people pushing stuff, so we're spamming everywhere. Everybody's seeing it. You know, every possibility to promote this is being pushed. We can get Whaleshares mainstream, I think, and we can miss out the mistakes that Steemit made and absolutely blitz past their value as well. So that's my plan. I hope you like it. And if you're interested in being involved in the future, in working on a particular project, in administrating, any skills you've got that you think we could use, DM me, and I will certainly get back to you. I would love to have your help in the future. But anyway, I just thought I should mention that. And if you've got any questions, feel free.
Are you there?
Hi, Intel going.
I think it's the right concept. I believe the timing's slightly off, but that's just my own personal opinion. But I like the way where you're going with it, and seeing something go from digital to something typewritten on a piece of paper is kind of really neat. I'm glad that you took a picture of that photo. But the whole concept between accepting social media blogging platforms as a resource of where good ideas come from, it's kind of hard for us involved in crypto to really believe it yet or understand that. So getting outside sources to also believe it or understand it will be difficult. So I think it's quite the challenge, but I like the path of where it might go.
No, I'm going to say that I agree with you. The way I've set this up, it's specifically designed to hit that challenge head on and break it, in my opinion. Because if you say to somebody, "Oh, will you join this this site?" People say, "Why? I'm already on Facebook." Blah blah blah. And you say, "Oh, well, it's good. You can earn crypto." They're not going to be interested. This is why the plan is to, I wouldn't say bribe, but to use the fact that our strength is to generate revenue, and we can do that with posts. You know, people can upvote posts if they want to add to a prize pool. I'm starting this. Maybe I should have clarified. Starting this at a minimum prize win of $300, which is fairly decent for some sort of literature prize. People are really happy to win that. And the fact that it's free entry, most things that would award you that would cost like $5, $10, $15 in reading fees. Most of them are run as for-profit things. They can't be run any other way unless they've got some sort of sponsorship. But we don't need to do that. And what I've also got implemented is the idea, and this will be explained on the detail. Okay, let me go back a step. The details will be put on a notice board that will lead people not straight to Whaleshares, but to a website, a bit like the one that Bushkill made, that has a bit more explanation. And from there, you could then come to Whaleshares. But also on there will be the current prize pool, because these prizes are going to go up. So let's say we fix the prize at 300 minimum, which I'm going to back personally, hopefully get it back. But if we get some upvotes on posts, and if the value goes up, I can log on to that and I can change it. The minimum price is now 350, 400. If we have a massive bear market, bull market coming up, we might be able to put that up to 4 figures for certain prizes. You know, depending that the cash covered, and this is how can I say? We're going to have a rolling payout, which will be covered by the capital of the account. So we hopefully won't have to power down too much, and keep like a different competition maturing each month or two, depending on how many there are, if that makes sense. So I think offering big prizes and celebrity judges is the exact thing that will jump normies in. If you say join this platform, it's great, they'll say can't be bothered. If you say enter this competition, you can win $500 and you can earn more as well, then they might say, "Oh, I'll do that. I'll sit down for an hour or 2 hours or 4 hours and work it out."
You know what? I think it's a great idea, and I think it's pretty cool that you thought of it. You know what genre of content though that I don't think has been brought to the platform yet, to a great extent, of people who do it professionally who would also might be quite interested, is like stand-up comics, like have some comedy contests, and stand-up comics might be interested in doing, judging, or maybe giving a little presentation to the community in general.
Okay, what? So like you record a set or something with you being funny, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I think that stand-up comics are usually pretty down to earth and willing to make take risks, and where until a guy was mentioning that most of the world is not onto crypto yet, I think that they might be some of the first people to be willing to bite. Possibly.
That makes sense. I mean, we're still open to which ones are going to be pushed, which subjects, which possibilities. I've been speaking to a Shakespearean actor with the idea that a monologue to camera, for example, would be one. So it could be serious or it could be funny. But this guy's, he's not film famous, but he's stage famous. And he showed an interest in judging that, helping out. And a lot of the time, I reckon I could probably get these people onto the platform.
Yeah.
But yeah, the easiest people, I think, to get onto crypto are young, innovative people, and universities and colleges. If they've got iPhones and things, it's not going to be hard for them to get onto this kind of stuff. So I think that's this is the way to go, and I honestly think this could take us mainstream. But yeah, stand-up comedy, I'll have a think about that, because we'd need to work out a way to make sure we got a lot of entries, because it's not as easy to get entries for something like that as it is for poems or short stories or flash fiction.
That's fair.
Everything's on the table at the moment still. Any more questions?
I don't know if you were reading the chat, but we're basically talking about trophies like Steamboard. A lot of people know about Steamboard. And I think the concept is really good, except for the fact that almost anybody can get a trophy there, which is kind of the idea to get the participation for Steamboard. But nobody covets those trophies because they're plentiful and they're everywhere and everyone's got one. So it kind of sucks. But, hardcore literary type trophies that were designed in where they're less easily obtained would be a little bit more showcasey, I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
they were.
Sorry,
if they were blockchain-based trophies, so each one is its unique.
Have we lost that, Could?
I was just saying it would be pretty neat if it was blockchain-based trophies, that each one was its own unique crypto.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you know what I think would be more of a pull than trophies would be? You obviously have one winner, second place, a third place, but you often have a short list and a long list. A high quality print run, which people could buy copies of to cover the costs, and winners get to go in that. So the best of 20 short stories get featured in this. So something like that. So you've then gone from the blockchain to the real world. And what a writer might want a trophy, but what they want more than anything is to see their work in a book that they can show to people, something glossy, that kind of stuff. So with the written word, we do that. About music, I'm not sure. I'll have to talk to DJ Lethal Skills a bit, and maybe some other people.
Yeah, that would be great to see a print work of a collaboration. Something that would take money though, but you could be able to work something out to where the community or the sponsor or the blockchain itself helps subsidize.
Yeah, people might buy them. And don't forget as well, companies are always looking for innovative new things to sponsor. To look like the new like they're at the cutting edge. So I've got a friend who runs medical marijuana business in the US. He's got like warehouses and suppliers and a couple of retailers. and they're desperate to spend money on some sort of marketing, but they don't really know what. So I said, look, what about this? You know, if we could get this proper, if we could get things looking good, get this looking professional, get ourselves a front end for submissions, get some good judges on board. What about throwing some money at us? You remember corporations have got cash sloshing around and they've got money they can spend rather than use to pay taxes. All this stuff would be easy to cover. You know, if a company said we're going to sponsor the print run of 20 or 50 of these things, people will buy them as well. You know, there'd be a certain amount of people that would pay, whether in cash or in crypto, to have one of these. So yeah, there's always a way to work stuff out and leverage things if you know who to speak to and if you know how to brand it, and how to leverage it for someone's benefit. So yeah, but if you're interested in helping out, talking about it more, stay in contact, and we can chat about this. Anyway, so I've blathered on. I always do that at the halfway point with my project because I'm so excited about it. Callum, are you there?
Hello, Nick. Yes, I'm here. Can you hear us well?
Yeah, I can hear you brilliantly. Okay, so you are now going to tell us about your domino project.
Yeah, that's right. Hopefully, I've got it simple enough and easy enough for people to grasp. I've been working on it, so I'll just drop a post in here and I'll get... So, domino. People have been wondering. I've had lots of different questions regarding it. And, you know, in its simplest form, domino is basically members of the platform sharing their thoughts on other people's posts. And what we're trying to do is create this kind of mentality that Whaleshares is already putting forward with sharing and trying to encourage that within the individuals here on the platform. So the initial concept and the way to get involved in domino, I'll use an example of how you can get started. It might be easier for people to understand. So if you're starting out with your first domino, you'll do a little introduction about yourself, you know, what you would like to gain from the project and what, you know, your thoughts about it. And towards the end of the domino, you'll leave 2 links of posts which have, you know, perked up your interest, something that you're interested in, and that's it. That's domino 1. You've introduced yourself and you've started your journey. Domino 2 is where you'll go into these, you'll go and talk about the posts, whether it be a brief review, something more in depth, or just something quick where you can share the value of the posts for other people to see and, you know, gain value quickly from it. And, you know, at the end of that domino, you'll leave another 2 posts and you'll go on to domino number 3 and so on and so on. You'll start this little chain reaction going. So the main idea and the main essence of it, what I'm at least trying to encourage, is for people to see it as their individual growth, you know, what they're gaining from different people's posts and content and sharing their thoughts and their feedback, and all at the same time they're also supporting someone else and giving them that little morale boost.
Okay, that's interesting. So dominoes are preset tasks that you would fill in, if that makes sense. Is that right?
Well, more so, it's trying to take the metaphor of the domino effect. It's more, the focus is more on your streak. You know, you're visiting 2 posts each domino, and, you know, sharing the value with the rest of the community for one thing, and you're also trying to get that value for yourself and learn and grow as you go through each domino. You know, you're knocking them over and you're learning and growing as you go.
Okay, and the impetus, the motivation for doing these dominoes is what? How would members be rewarded for doing their dominoes?
Well, I've got a range of different rewards in the mix, different ideas which I'm adding on to. But the initial one that we've got is a weekly competition of sorts, weekly rewards. This is in what we've decided to do is different categories. So they are most creative domino, the best introduction domino, and the best domino duo. The domino duo comes in because to enter into the contest, you've got to share 2 of your domino posts in the comments section, and that way the community can vote, and that's how that category will be rewarded. We've got some support from 2 great witnesses, Chrono Crypto and Deranged Visions. They've fronted their token for each category, so if you're a winner of the category, you'll gain 100 Chrono tokens and 100 Deranged coins, so you can boost up your post, boost someone else's post. And then as well, we've got the support of Krista, who's going to be going into the comments section, and she's agreed to reward the people who are dropping in dominoes as a way to encourage them and get them started.
Okay, so it sounds a little bit like achievement unlocked progression in a computer game. Would that be right? And if so, how many achievements are there?
It's a good comparison for sure. It's we haven't decided on it's not set in the ways as having 3 categories. We can bring more in as time goes on. We could have the funnest domino, the domino which provides the most value, this kind of thing. We can bring in and add more categories as it goes on. But for the time being, it's just a weekly reward system, and a way for people to get a little bit back for their taking part in the domino project. What I'm also trying to work on is finding a way, finding a potential sponsor, so that if say somebody posts a domino, we will reward them, say 5 tokens, and then if they use those tokens on the next domino, they'll earn another 5. And just as another way to kind of a reward incentive, a way to help them grow. And then eventually, as the domino account and its stake grows, we'll be introducing a domino curation team, which will do a kind of daily domino digest, which will be a way for us to give them even further recognition through the domino share section and on a little post.
Okay, interesting. And we spoke a little bit about this before. You mentioned something about a 57th domino. Is that still an interesting part of the plan?
That is how it all came about. That's what sparked the idea for me. There's a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller, and there's a segment in there. Just 1 second, I'll grab it and I'll read. One second there. Okay, so the segment in it says, imagine a long string of dominoes lined up one after the other, with each one progressively 1.5 times larger than the last. If you were to knock down the first 2-inch domino, you would set off a chain reaction that would, by the 57th iteration, produce enough force to knock over a domino stretching the distance between the Earth and the Moon. So this segment got us thinking, about growth and about how chaining together those dominoes and keeping that consistent, those 2 posts, sharing and evolving yourself as you go. By that 57th domino, you'll have grown and you'll have changed, you'll have transformed and become someone else. So that's what my mind was thinking. So I've also got another, this is under the wraps, it's secret, but for people getting to that 57th domino, there will be a substantial reward and a way to, show that you've done well, you've took part in the project, and here's a reward for doing so well in it.
Okay, interesting. I've got IntelliGuy, who's going to ask you an intelligent question. I'm sure of it.
There. One of the things that I'm thinking about ahead of time, because I'm always seeing far off into the future, that I could see lots of dominoes showing up all over the blogs, and there'd be no rhyme or reason to it. People have to get acquainted with the project, understand, and be like, oh, he's only at level 2, he's at level 40, he's level this. and it gets quite confusing. It would definitely need to have a partnership website or something as a leaderboard, so you could keep track of whose dominoes are where. You could check your own domino position. You could see who was getting awarded for their domino the most versus somebody that wasn't, and make it an interactive tool of some sort. And then maybe the latest domino update could be published, and when you go to the website, you see it at the top. Breeze just published her 5th domino, and it gives the subject line at the top or something to feature domino people, and it would be something that would complement the whole project rather than relying on people's memories on who's where, what, why, what their progression is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. It's something that we're definitely working towards. The main one thing that we've with regards to that was looking at how ActiFit on Steam, they've got how they are set up with a certain leveling system and reward, and we've noticed that it could be something to replicate in certain ways and provide this kind of front end system or leaderboard for the Domino project. But yeah, no, it's a great question, and as well, you were over on the post. You'd shared thoughts about the the ordering and the different numbers and what's the why wouldn't somebody just post 300 dominoes a day or 30 dominoes a day? What's an okay amount? And that is a problem we'll have to work out. But it's more down to trying to encourage that mentality in people and trying to make sure they're not cheating themselves. They'll get out what they put into it. And when it comes to the time to have a team who goes through the dominoes and sees what different people are doing, that'll be a point then to start tackling that issue of how many is too much, and are they cheating the system in a sense?
From what you said before, and it sounds like domino might be something that works well in combination with an off-chain aspect. I'm beginning to think that a big part of the future of Whaleshares is going to be a combination of the platform with off-chain stuff that complements it, because Whaleshares is very good at what it does, but there's a lot of stuff it can't do. Like IntelliGuy said, you can't sort and order things very well. You can't see a visual collective representation. So that's potentially a thing for the future.
Yeah, for sure. It's something I'm already trying to think that far ahead and trying to understand how that'll work out. But in essence, I'm trying to build on this mentality and the principle that Whaleshares already has about sharing. And when I first joined, I loved the sharing section. It's a great way to go and see what other people are sharing and what they're enjoying. It's a great reflection of the people. And Domino's just a little way to complement that and maybe give a little bit of a little bit of an insight why they liked it, and it's a good way for us to share the value with the community while also learning and growing ourselves.
Okay, Callum, thank you so much. That's really interesting. Are there any other questions? No other questions. Okay, but you've seen the post. I'm sure we will see more from you on this. Keep in touch, and we can talk about it some more. But it sounds interesting. It sounds ambitious as well. Yeah. Let us see what you can do. I think it will be amazing.
Thank you very much, and I'm honoured to be on the show. Presenting it on the the birthday of the show. So thank you very much for that, and it's great to share it in the show, which has got this very similar mindset. Listening to the posts and the way you guys have been talking about them, it's definitely something. It's something to behold. So thank.
Good stuff. Thank you. Okay, so should we move back to some curation now? What do you think? Or do you want to hear about the flash blast that we did? That's just me talking again, isn't it? I've done enough talking for a bit. Let's jump to someone else. Come on, Linda.
Hello there. I chose another post today, like we always do. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, this one I really liked. First, because of the formatting, and second, because it's real life connected with our online world, and this is a calendar somebody's actually selling, and you can buy it for the next year. There's also the prices mentioned there on the bottom of the page. I guess you have to get in touch with the author to purchase the calendar, but I love the layout of the pictures, and also there's a little bit of explanation behind them. This is the DC Polymath hometown and photos that he took around his place where he lives, and I think they're stunning photos, and they're very calendary. They're at least made very calendar, you know. Kind of could watch at those photos for a month, if you know what I mean, and it looks like they would fit perfectly in something like that, in a booklet and I really love that, you know, you get the real thing and you can buy it and you can hang it on your wall, and you're like, hey, I first found it on Whaleshares, you know, and it somehow ended in my home. I like that. I like, just like Nick is making the trying to bring Laureate to the outside world. I like that you connect the outside with the inside of our tight-knit community.
Linda, I agree with you 100% on that. I think for all us hardcore Whaleshare community members, we spent a lot more time on here than I think we'd care to admit to in public. And having something from there that's tangible in the meat sack reality would, you know, it just brings a whole new dimension to it.
It makes it real, huh?
Yeah, then not everyone is bots, Nick, you see.
Well, I know that Nick is real. Are you real?
Well, I've invited you over to come and find out, but you've always declined, so you'll never know then.
I had my name mentioned earlier about bots. I don't understand. Was it a joke?
You guys are great.
No, Nick, I was poking at the comment you made, I think a show or two earlier, where you suggested that everybody is bots except for you, and it's a big social experiment to see. Yeah.
That's a thing. I secretly think when I leave a room, everybody thinks, oh, it's gone, and we can return to our normal selves. No, there's a name for that, isn't there? The paranoia that you're the only real person on the planet. I think lots of us feel that. But don't be too cheeky, because Curation got a punishment this week of having to curate standing up, and I'm not afraid to dish out more of those. So mind yourselves, ladies.
Try me, Nikki. Try me. I'll defy you anytime.
Sticks and stones may break our bones, but punishment excites us.
Yeah, we're not good girls here.
I think I'm gonna speak about the calendar since nobody is talking. And this guy said, well, other than the pictures being brilliant and really vibrant and really calendar quality photos, he says that you can add a calendar to any holiday sale that he's shipping, like to any order he's shipping. So I guess he's selling more than just calendars. Do you know, like, does he run a store or something?
I have no idea. I just clicked on the link. I think
I'm gonna look.
Yeah, I think because I just saw that he's selling them and I thought it was an amazing idea. I don't use calendars, not really, so I wasn't going to buy one, but I did think it was a great idea, but I didn't research any deeper into it, I had to admit.
That's fine. You didn't have to.
Maybe we need a Whaleshares show calendar. Make a bit of money. What do you think?
I want to organize Whaleshares Fest, guys. Imagine how amazing that would be. Because we need to plan now if we want to do it for the first year. Because it takes an awesome lot of time and effort.
We've got to get out of this bear market, otherwise no one will be able to afford to go.
We have to make a festival or like a formal event. We should make a voting thing, something. We shouldn't do this.
if you buy your bit of land in Latvia,
I have my land. I have my land. We can do festival there.
I was going to say,
17 hectares.
why didn't you do Whale Fest?
Yeah, but there's so much planning. We need people. I need help. Let's do it, guys.
What do you need help? You'll do the singing. That's right, isn't it?
No.
Can you cook?
I can. I'm not gonna do the singing. I'm gonna scare people back.
Linda,
Why don't we ponder this?
I think Linda should come to Africa, and then we have it here on my farm, and that way we can help each other do because I've done quite a few festivals, Linda, so most of it is sorted, and you get to find out if I'm real or not, which is always an added bonus. So, I think you should come to Africa.
No, everybody should come to me. I'll do all the work, but everybody comes to me after. What I'm serious about is we should really consider doing something like that, because that's like real life bringing us all together.
What if we hate each other when we all meet up and Whaleshares just collapses into nothing?
Where one by Whaleshares? I'm looking on EasyDex and I don't really see too much.
I think there's
some more.
I need to get a better push to talk button. One second.
There could be rival whale fests, or there could be one in Latvia and then fly down to South Africa.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, where does one buy the Whaleshares? I was seeing on EasyDex and it doesn't seem there's much.
Oh, okay. You would go. Has someone got a link for exactly or for the page for buying Whaleshares? I could get one, but I've got to keep talking, so
I got one.
You would have to go quiet. Stick it up there. Yeah,
Yep.
They're going for about 1.2 BitShares each at the moment, which is about 6 cents.
Okay, not bad at all.
Anyway, okay, so some interesting thoughts there. I've got lost. Where were we? We had the post, and then we got sidetracked. Curation, is it you now?
Yeah, it is my turn.
Are you standing up?
Yep, standing up.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna be standing up from now on at every show, just so you know, and you don't have to ask me anymore. But anyways, here's my second post, and hold on. Okay, and I picked blockchain for curation today because I thought that was a very nice post, even though it doesn't cover any work that they do as a witness for Whaleshares. This is their quarterly report as a BitShares witness, and they've been involved in crypto for many years, and they've been doing a lot of work, and they were just trying to recap what they've done in the last 3 months in this post, which is launching WLS, Smoke, and Viz gateways on Rudex. And if you're not familiar with Viz, it's another fork of Steem, and it's made by this person. I'm not sure how many of you guys may know him. Probably nobody. But his username is ONIX, and he used to be a witness on Golos, and he made his front end, and it used to be even more advanced than Golos.io client. So he was doing a lot of good work, and he just decided to fork Steam and make his own thing. I personally don't have any shares in that, and I didn't buy it. I don't have an account or anything, but I just know what it is. Anyways, and with those, it total, I think it makes 15 blockchains in total that they support on Rudex, which is a great accomplishment. Other than that, they introduced their public trading bot, and it's available in Russian language through Rudex UI and in English as well. So if you are in need of some trading bot and you're doing some trading, I personally do not, but if you do, feel free to use it. Maybe you will be able to make some good trades. And yeah, other than that, in this post, they just cover what they've been doing at this conference called Bitfast Amsterdam, where they met Stan Larimer, Dan's daddy. So yeah, all in all, pretty good report. Check it out, and if you want, you might as well cast a witness vote for them.
That's interesting, Cot. I had no idea about this, so it's another platform to look into to see what's going on. Thank you for bringing that up. It's easy to see a lot of these technical-looking posts on Whaleshares, and because I'm not a techie person, I just kind of skim them and don't really read them properly. But now you've pointed that out, I realize that's quite relevant. So thank you.
No problem. I was just having a hard time trying to pick something today. I usually tell myself I'm gonna try and make my picks during the week so that I don't have to make a fast decision on the day of the show. But I always end up doing it, and I always think it's a bad idea. But somehow I end up with making decisions that I'm not ashamed of, sort of. Even though I do it late, I'm still happy about the post that I picked, and I'm definitely happy about picking those two today.
Katrin, you just picked it because it's a cat with a Rubik's Cube in there, didn't you? Be honest with us now.
No, to be honest, I thought it was a good post. I know a little bit of blockchain, like what those guys do. It's not a person; it's a team of a few different people, and they do a lot of work. And they support a lot of graphene-based and non-graphene-based chains infrastructure. So they do it in their free time, sort of. Even though they do get block rewards, but other than that, they're not getting paid by anybody, and it's just like their decision commitment to this industry.
I was just teasing you. I think it's really a great post, and I think especially for us non-technical folk, it's difficult to grasp everything that happens behind the scenes when it comes to these things. And just like Nick, I would often read through it and go like, okay, picture. But it's really nice that you just laid that all out for us. I really appreciate that, and it seems to be a very, very decent post.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, it's just a report. Like, there's not a whole lot of things that you're probably gonna learn, but it's just like recapping what they've been focusing on lately. Other than that, the post is talking about this work proposal that they made about updating BitShares UI. So I just think, all in all, it's just good work for our convenience as regular users.
Linda, thoughts?
I'm sorry, guys. I just lost in the article.
That's okay. That's all right. It's quite technical, so maybe you don't need to give your thoughts. But thank you for pointing out to us, Katrin. I think we all. It's good to be aware that there are other platforms out there. And yes, Linda, you do sound a little bit sleepy as well.
I don't think it's sleepy. It's just, yeah, maybe. Okay, let's call me.
It's a bit sleepy or something else. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Shall we move on to Breeze's? Oh, hold on. Before we do Breeze's post, I'm just going to tell you about what we've been doing this last week with Laureate. I won't put another post up because I don't want to spam my posts. But we did run a flash blast with the idea that the judge for the short literary fiction competition would see this flash blast, which was a mimicry of what he does on his site, and think, hold on, this is a great way to do this, and maybe I should join as well. So hopefully I've got a week's worth of work to show him. We had, I think, 17 stories or short pieces written in a week. There were at least 20 crits. Everybody got their piece critted at least once. I tried to upvote everything. If I haven't upvoted your submission yet, you will get decent size upvotes with my account and the Laureate's account as well. So it's worth contributing. And I set a time limit of an hour for writing a piece, with the idea that you sit and relax and just write from your unconscious to see what comes out. Well, what we're going to do this week, after a rest for a day or two, is do an even quicker, even shorter one. And I'm aware that my crits are sometimes, they can feel quite grating and harsh because they're done in what I would call a literary style. But Vit, the wonderful Vit, has introduced me to a new style of critting, which is what do you call it? Positive reinforcement, something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do even shorter pieces that you sit down for, say, 20 minutes, do a maximum of 100, 150 words. We'll work something out. You post those really quickly, and then we will do positive crits on them using this methodology that Vit has got. So we will learn to crit in this different way, and you will all get some more practice of this. It's great for laureates as well. It keeps us posting. It shows everybody, when people come in from writing communities, they will be able to see the history of what we've done and how many people are involved and how good it is and how people can be rewarded for their practice, their training. So I think it's good to have that on record as well. But if you're interested, follow the laureate account and you will see a post coming up in the next day or so about the next Flash Blast. Oh yes, what counts as about giving feedback. This was not a kind of feedback I was familiar with. So yeah, anyway, we will work on that as well. But okay, so let's go to Breeze, your post now.
Right. Drop the link there. Seeing that I decided this week to stay with agriculture, nature, outdoors, those were the topics that I decided to look under this week. I came across this post. It's a homesteading post. I wouldn't classify it necessarily as homesteading, but it's a pineapple plantation and going through the run of the mill regarding that. And it's a new user also to the platform. This post is 4 days old, still standing on 0 Whaleshares, which I thought was I think quite disheartening. It's clearly someone that's putting a lot of time and effort into their post, although I think just if with the right guidance could do a lot better, but at the same time definitely someone that is putting time and effort into getting decent posts out there and supporting people like this, taking them under your wing and helping them to grow with the community is really just as valuable for them as it is for you. And that's why I decided to stick to this post of this the new user on the platform. I think joined this month. It's December now. Yeah, joined November 2018. So it's not even a month that he's been on the platform as well. And something that I just wanted to have you guys have a look at.
I love these kinds of posts where there is something you can learn about, because I'm a little farm person in my heart because I grew up in my grandparents' farm, and I love these kinds of things because I'm like, maybe one day I can do something like that. I really like. That's really cool. Big praise.
Does anyone else get a slightly creepy Day of the Triffids vibe from all those pineapples lined up? Like they could just stand up one day and start walking towards you.
You know, there was this movie where a whole town got knocked out and then they were pregnant with alien children, and when the alien children were born they were all couples, like they would all go, 2 of them. That's what it reminds me of. I don't remember the name of the movie, but it was a creepy movie. They would always pair up and just walk around.
I haven't seen that. I'm going to look out for that. Plant-based horror. It's probably one thing that's holding back veganism a bit, maybe. What do you think? Or maybe promoting it, I don't know. Anyway, sorry, we got sidetracked. Anyone else's thoughts?
I do enjoy this post a lot, and I went to this person's profile, and it looks like they work in the fields, like growing veggies about every day, probably because every day there's just like a recap of the work that they've done in I want to say garden, but I see this is not a garden. It just feels straight up. And yeah, it's pretty impressive for a 5-year-old to be doing this kind of work, and be involved in crypto and be sharing it. You can see that they're really trying hard.
It's a bit like those on the old Sesame Street, where you would learn how like beans were canned or something, or different things were done. So yeah, like Linda said, these things where you see something produced.
Well, I think it also, I think it also comes back to the creating awareness of what you're putting into your body, knowing where it comes from, knowing the effort that's gone into planting it, etc. It just makes for more respectful eating as well.
Okay, interesting post. Anyway, we all now know that pineapples grow unusually, if we didn't know it before. Before I do my post, I've noticed that the bug IQ is there. The bug, are you there?
I am.
I would like you to tell everybody here about your show that's on a little bit later.
I'm glad you caught me. I was just about to leave because I can't emoji comment, I realized, so I was going to go.
I've just seen that Snecky's there as well, so if Snecky wants to tell us.
Oh, yeah.
Both of you.
She's the talker. I'll let her talk.
No, you are the talker. You talk.
So at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, which is what time UTC, Snacky?
Jeez. 11:30?
Yeah. Thanks, be here. He's always got our back, man. Yep, straight up curation show. Snacky and I, Monday Madness. Come have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, be there. Have fun.
Okay, so it's a curation show. It's different to this one. You get to promote your own post, I believe. Is that right?
That's right. Yep, bring your own post. You can promote someone else's post. We accept anything from any part of your digital footprint. It could be Whaleshares, Steemit, Weeku, Facebook. Sorry, it came out. I just threw up a little in my mouth. YouTube, doesn't matter.
Okay, that's interesting. What about like if I were to say get access to someone's criminal records? Could I if they were digitized, could we discuss those on the show?
I'd hire you to get some people's criminal records, brother.
You can have mine. It's not very interesting, though.
Private investigators.
Yeah, crypto sleuths, I suppose, of some kind.
Because with this freeform, show format, it could easily turn into a doxing show, couldn't it? You show somebody's like whole identity.
Yeah, I suppose if the person's interesting enough, our show could tank if it's just a bunch of boring people. I suppose that we're doxing. Does it even matter?
I suppose not. I was just pondering what would be permitted and what wouldn't. Just being silly. No, I've been to the show multiple times, and it's good fun, and it's worth going to, and you get some nice rewards. So I would recommend it. You will need to show people how to get there, I think, won't you, as well?
Yeah, we'll get a link. We revised the room that you land in now, so just land in that room. It's a little rubber room with a straitjacket. You can't say or do too much. We'll come in and give you your meds and release you onto the server.
That sounds good. I'm very comforting. Okay, brilliant. So hopefully, see you later. I'll have a cup of tea first, then I should drop in. But maybe meet some of you there as well.
Yeah, what kind of tea, Nick?
I will pretty much always drink English breakfast tea.
I can approve. I'm an Earl Grey boy.
Okay, can't really have milk with that. So, well, you can, but it's just not. I have milk with my tea for some reason.
Thanks for giving us a shout. There's something else that I was going to say, but I literally can't remember what it was.
Well, at the end of this show anyway, we will in a bit get you to give Krista your details. Not yet, not until I say, because there's a question. If you don't get the question right, you don't get anything, because it means you're a bot. But let me just do my post, and then we'll take the mics off. And Bug, you can speak out whatever you've got to say in a bit, yeah?
Thank you.
Okay, so here's the my second post. Because I've been so focused on writing this week, I thought, okay, here's another writing post, and I looked at it, and this poor guy, I think a couple of times he got rewards of like 1 or 2 Whaleshares, and the last few he was on like 0.3, 0.4. And I read the post. I thought he's made some effort with this. He's got a nice picture. It's a nice little story. It was competently done, entertaining to read. Once I started reading, I read to the end. So yeah, Jay Adams, I thought it was lovely. I don't think English is your first language, but you did a very good job as well with it. Feel free to join in with the Flash Blast as well if you want to do some more. But yeah, I just thought a good poster, a good post, good story, and I'd like him to stick around, and so I'm going to reward him with a prize. So hopefully he feels loved. So I hope you feel the same anyway.
Well, a recommendation from you, Nikki, on literature is something I'll have to read. Not now, because I won't be able to give it my 100, but I'll read that tomorrow. Also, what I've noticed is that more people are joining the platform, and you find more and more posts that are not rewarded really much as we're growing. So I think more people should start doing curation, guys.
I know what you mean. I feel like a panic sometimes when I scroll through the new posts, and I think all these poor people, they're not getting quite enough, and we need to give them a little bit more to get them to stay.
Yeah, I think so too. Even myself, I haven't been able to do what I usually do. I've been doing so much less. I've been all over the place. It's been ridiculous. But yeah, so somebody dropped me like a whole list of people to curate at, so I'm saved kind of. But I think if you can curate, guys, if you have the power, go for it, because we don't want Steam it happening and people leaving because they're not appreciated.
I'm also just scanning through the post quickly. It's